All right, and welcome back to another video. It is week 12 of the NFL. And after a better week, I went 8-6 this week. So I think you should be very proud of me instead of, not. But after a very interesting week this week, let's go ahead and get into week 12. And for the first game, we've got the Bucs at the Browns. The Bucs had a bye week. Week before that, they played in Munich, Germany, where they defeated the Seattle Seahawks, who were, I believe, also on a bye. The Browns, they lost, but they could have won. But all in all, just came out with utter defeat. Really losing by 18 points instead of by, really losing by 21 points instead of 8. Had a late comeback, but didn't work for the best. And I'm going to go with the Bucs here just because I believe they're trying to find themselves. They're trying to make a run to the playoffs. The Browns, they get a bye week next week, and I believe the next week they get to play on the road against a very good opponent. Sorry, not a very good opponent. And they get to play a very interesting opponent in the Houston Texans. And maybe they'll show it on TV because, although it is they both have very bad records. It's Deshaun Watson against his former team. So, anyway, Bucs win. It'll be close. Good defensive battle, but in the end, not even close. And next up, this is a Monday Night Football game. By the way, this is, like I said, just going in order, everything. Before I go forward, just got my braces off. You see over there, retainers. I know I'm supposed to keep them in. But the thing is that I don't trust myself with them on. Oh, hold up. So I have them on right now, as you can see. See, it sounds very different. Steelers. So I'm going to take them off now. Now I have them off. See, there's a difference. I know there's a difference, guys. There is. I mean, I don't really speak this loud yet, but still. Anyway, the Steelers. Might cut that out. They play close against the Bengals, who just got on a bye after playing the Panthers, and the Panthers apparently every team is 0-9 the week after playing the Panthers. Defied logic apparently by winning. The Bengals did. We'll get to them just a quick moment. And the Colts losing in a close one to the Philadelphia Eagles. Almost, getting the Eagles to be just like the Cardinals did at the end of the regular season last year. Well, here's the thing. I have this being a very low-scoring game, kind of like how the Jets and the Patriots game was this weekend. But I have this being a little higher scoring than that, of course. But Steelers going to win on Monday Night Football. It's going to be a very uninteresting game, just like the one in Mexico City was this past Monday night. Steelers win, kind of a close one, but they can still get the win in the process. And what could be a pretty decent one. It's the Jags versus the Jags versus the Ravens. Lamar Jackson versus Trevor Lawrence. Ravens coming off a close win against the Panthers. Remember, each team is 0-9 the week after facing the Panthers. The Jags, they're on a bye week. I forgot who they played the week before. Still, I believe that did they win? I don't think so. I'm not going to check. Anyway, Lamar Jackson barely got the win, but he did it in the process of pretty much elimination. Now, I do see them getting the win. No, it's not really a good check mark, but I still see them getting the win. It's going to be close. It's going to be in the 20s. Close. Points will be scored. Fumbles will be, balls will be lost. Fumbles will be given. Interceptions will happen by both teams. Not just the Jags, but by the Ravens as well. But I did see the Ravens come out to win in a close one. And the AFC divisional round rematch between the Bengals and the Titans. The Bengals, they had to pull away a bit in order to get the win. Pulled away with a 14-point lead. Ended up with a 7-point lead. The Titans, kind of winning in an upset. In my opinion, it was an upset. I'm so far in the last couple of weeks 0-2 on Thursday Night Football. I've been pretty good on Thursday night lately, but not so lately. This could be a really good matchup. I can see teams scoring points in this one. I hope this is a matchup that we get to see, by the way. Because, if a game is just blown out, they might change it. And then you got they may get Ja'Marr Chase back, which is a lot of things. I watched something that came up on TikTok. Colin Cowherd says that they're a top 5 team, top 3 team. They're the number 3 team in the power rankings this week because they're a very underrated defense. So you can't name a guy on their defense, and they're still going to get the win. Even without Joe Mixon, Ja'Marr Chase, they can still get the win with T. Higgins and a guy named Samaje Perine. Now, I will pick the Bengals because here's the thing. They are 7-3, but they're very sneaky 7-3. And what that means is that, they played some really horrid teams because when they played the Chiefs, they lost. They did play good, but they lost because they're not as good as the Chiefs are. They tried to prove that they were. Derrick Henry is the only guy that can actually do anything good on that team. He's carrying that offense. Now, their defense has played pretty good in the past couple of years, yes, but their offense is not that good. The Bengals have a better offense overall than the Titans. We know that. Even without Ja'Marr Chase and Joe Mixon. Joe Mixon is going to come back next week. So for that reason, I'm going to have to pick the Bengals. Dolphins win. That was actually a real cough, by the way. Anyway, Dolphins win because they're not going to lose to the Texans. And if anything that they'd ever do lose to the Texans, I will donate $5,000 to the Houston Texans because they got a big upset in Miami, which is also a hard place to play in this time of year. Pretty much say all-time era because it gets hot down there, summer and winter. So if they get the win down there, I'm going to be shocked and I'm going to laugh out of my chair, out of my couch to Sunday afternoon, whenever this game is. But still, Dolphins are going to win this game because their offense is way too good. Their defense is not the greatest, but they can still get the win over this team. So Dolphins win. And next up, what we thought was going to be kind of a bad team on bad team, which actually could be a bad team on bad team, with the Bears and the Jets. I'm actually going to pick the Jets to win this one. Yeah, although they were talking about replacing Zach Wilson, their defense can hold the Bears, which Justin Fields is the only guy on that offense that can actually produce points, and Darnell Mooney is his only guy to throw to. So, besides that, they have nobody else. The Jets defense, Quinnen and Quincy Williams, the brothers there, are tearing it up. And the rest of the Jets defense, Sauce Gardner is one of the best corners in the league, I believe, and he's a rookie. And when you say, oh yeah, on the offensive side, Ja'Marr Chase is doing pretty good. Well, still. Now, this will be a close one. the Bears will go back and forth with this team. Now, like I said, they were thinking about replacing Zach Wilson. But I believe that Zach Wilson will tear it up because they cannot lose 2 straight. At this point in the season, they cannot lose 2 straight. They won the Bills game because of their defense. Not saying that the Bears are on the same level of the Bills, but they're going to play like it. They're going to play like they're playing the Bills because Zach Wilson needs to prove himself that they do not need to make a quarterback change. And I believe this will be the game that he will try to prove himself. So Jets get the win in a proving way for Zach Wilson, the MILF Hunter. And another coulda, shoulda, woulda matchup. Another coulda, shoulda, woulda matchup between the LA Rams and the Kansas City Chiefs. The Rams are a disappointment this year. We've seen that before. We've seen that. Well, they're 3-7 because they fail to capitalize in their games. They fail to do much anything because they're not a good team this year. The Chiefs are the complete opposite, in which they are blowing everybody out of the water. But they had to play close against the Chargers, who we could have seen a sweep this year. But like I said, they're always going to win in LA unless Justin Herbert can actually do something good. Now, this would have been a good matchup. This would have been the matchup we would have seen. The rematch of the 2018 matchup that was in the hundreds combined points with the high-scoring matchups in NFL history and on Monday Night history. But we can't have that because the Rams can't produce points. Cooper Kupp's going to be out for some time. The Chiefs are going to blow them in the water. Chiefs win. Period. And welcome to our first Thanksgiving matchup between the Bills and the Lions. The Bills were actually here just last week. A couple of days ago. They're just going to stay in town. They're going to stay in town, I presume. And then the Lions, coming off a big win against the Giants. Right there, stupid. And this could be a pretty good matchup. The Lions historically always play good on, of course I wouldn't know, on Thanksgiving. Because they're always at home. The crowd is wild. The Lions are a little bit better than they were last year by upping their win by 1. They're on a 3-game win streak. No, is any other team on that? There's a couple other teams on a 3-game win streak. I believe some may be on a 4-game win streak. And yeah. Well, the only other team that's on a 4-game win streak is, I believe, the Chiefs. I think it's the only. But anyway, sadly, I really want to pick the Lions in this scenario. Here's the thing, sadly, I can't. Just because they have a little bit too good of an offense and a defense. And, we want to pick the Lions. Sadly, we just can't. Because, they almost won last year on Thanksgiving by a field goal. Clock management wasn't good enough. I believe clock management will tear them up again. Last-minute field goal. Last-minute field goal for the Bills to win it. Maybe overtime. Bills win on Thanksgiving Day. And now on to our second Thanksgiving matchup. Not in a row. Not in order. Still, even if it's on Thanksgiving, it's not in order. The Patriots getting the win. Only score was by a punt return. The Vikings did not win. They did not even score a touchdown. They only scored 3 points, and I believe that was the only points they ever scored. Yep, it was, because I just said that. This could be a pretty good matchup. I mean, you guess. They're on a win streak. They were on a win streak. Guess who ended that? I'm not a Cowboys fan, but, if the Cowboys are good, then that's good because they're supposed to be, but they're not. Yeah. I'm going to pick the Vikings to win because they got to bounce back some way. If they're going to try to contend with that the number 1 seed, they got to hope and pray that the Eagles ever lose another game. Because, if they do lose another game, that would be something. I don't see them doing it. So, Vikings win. They're going to end their little win streak that they had. Patriots got to have some way to get into the playoffs. They can't lose out after this game. Vikings win. And now for the Broncos and the Panthers to play for the battle to see who is really trash. Broncos losing an overtime game. I think they really should have won that game. There's not going to be any fans left in the stands. It's going to be kind of like what Texas A&M had against UMass this past weekend. Yeah, full house of 100,000 people at the crowd. Maybe this weekend when they play LSU, there's going to be a lot of people. But not this past weekend. That was not great. I'm not even a Texas A&M fan. That was sad. They almost lost. I thought they did lose. Well, they didn't lose because, they're better than UMass. But still, they still barely won. But the Broncos barely lost. And the Panthers lost because, honestly, they could have won that game because they have a lot better defense than a lot of people, and they just don't see it yet because they don't have momentum to play like they deserve to play. But I'm going to choose the Broncos because, honestly, the Broncos have a lot better defense than the Panthers do. And I believe Russell Wilson is going to cook in this matchup. You can say, well, why couldn't you cook in the other matchups? Because the pressure is not on in this matchup. He knows he's playing against possibly one of the worst teams in the NFL. He knows that he can prove that he's not as bad as that. So they're going to get the win in Carolina. And then the other Thanksgiving matchup between the Giants and the Cowboys. The Giants. They could have won that game. They didn't win the game. And now we got a battle for second place in the division. And then the Cowboys just blew Minnesota out of the water. Out of the bank, pretty much. If you want to get real technical. On Sunday. And then they just changed the game. I saw something. So somebody was live doing the game. Said, they changed the game? What? Now we got to do another game. Yeah, they changed it. And that was probably a good thing, changing it to Cincinnati, because it's a better matchup to see. I did pick the Cowboys to win it because, obviously, if you're blowing out an 8-1 team, 40-0, and you weren't even favored, well, you were favored a little bit, and you were favored by probably 2 points, and you win by 37, you're obviously saying that you have a good defense and that you deserve to be in the top 5 in the league. Maybe the number 1 team in the nation. Yeah. But still, I don't believe the Cowboys are. The Giants are going to play a little bit close, though. Their defense will hold. And we're going to see who can get the win and make second place thoughts in the NFC East on Sunday. Well, on Thursday. On Thanksgiving, if you will. All right, next up, we got Green Bay coming into Philly. And Green Bay didn't look so hot on Thursday night. They had their moments, and they didn't have their moments. And Philly just almost blew it against the Colts again. And are they ready to lose on Sunday? That's a question you're going to have to ask yourself. Now, we all know this. I think we can say it for ourselves. The Packers can't lose this game. And Aaron Rodgers says that we're not dead yet. Clearly, you're dead at 4-7. Eagles are fine and alive at 9-1. I believe they are the real deal. They're a possible Super Bowl contender. But does a 9-1 record really prove themselves? Because they lost to a Commanders team that was ready to win. I think the Eagles They're still going to win this game, but it's going to be close. Now, this is a chance to prove that he's better than Aaron Rodgers and the Packers. Clearly, by the record, they are. But at this point in the season, if they lose out and they win out, they'll still have a better record than them. So this is the chance to prove that they can get to 10-1 on the year. So, Eagles win and a close one on Sunday. And next up, what could be a pretty good one, sneaky good one, between the Falcons and the Commanders. The Falcons. Well, you did it before. You can do it again. They won. But they had to do it in style to order even to get a win. So they almost lost 3 straight. They got a chance to get the division if Tampa loses and they win. So this is their chance. They're above 500 for the first time this season. And for the first time in, a couple of years, actually. So now this is their chance to see what they can do. I'm going to pick the Commanders because, I already did, but because their defense can hold them. And Chase Young, possible chance to get back in this game. They played themselves against the Commanders. They put themselves against the Texans that they're not a bad team. And that can beat up on bad teams. As they did, winning in the 20s. And they only held them to 1 touchdown. Now, the Falcons, they're not necessarily a bad team, but they're not necessarily a good team. They're right in the middle of the pack because they have 5 wins, only had the winning 2 to start out. Maybe only 1 in my actual predictions. But they've times that by almost triple. But they're going to win about, I think it's 3 straight. 3 straight on the year. And next up, probably another coulda, shoulda, woulda matchup between the Chargers and the Cardinals. Chargers, they lost, but it's because of time clock management. They couldn't manage the clock. They knew Patrick Mahomes, voice correct. They knew Patrick Mahomes had a lot of time. And they knew if they give him a minute 50, pretty much, that he was going to drive down the field and score. Derwin James knew he had to do something about Travis Kelce. But Travis Kelce is the best tight end in the league, pretty much. The Cardinals, they got destroyed on Monday night. We saw that the other night. You saw that happened. They get destroyed. Colt McCoy could not do anything. Now, I'm not saying that the Cardinals are bad, but they're not as good as the Chargers are. So I have them winning and going to 6-5, and they're not to 4-8. But they're not just going to be as bad as the Rams are. They're ahead of the Rams by a half a game. So now we got the Chargers who are looking to try to get that division, and the Chiefs who are way ahead of that division by 3 games, guys. 3 games. So look out. Chargers coming red hot at you. Like a bullet. If you're coming into our house, you're going to pay. You're playing possible Super Bowl contenders at this point. What do you got to say? The Saints are going to play the Super Bowl contenders that have gone all in, the saying is. That's just an automatic win for them. It's going to be a defensive battle, but they're Super Bowl contenders. It's a money game. You bring in big guys to beat up on bad teams. I'm not saying the Saints are not necessarily bad, but they're falling away in their division at this point, guys. So I had the Niners winning. Kind of a close one at first. Kind of like what we had the Cardinals game, but then blowing out in the second half. And finally, for the last coulda, shoulda, woulda matchup, I mean, it could have been a coulda, woulda, shoulda matchup. Because we thought the Raiders were going to be good. Guys, right now they're third in the division. And that's only because, just because they can't get the pieces together. They have all the pieces together. And this is why we're losing. That's what Derek Carr is saying. All the pieces together. And you couldn't do one thing. You barely won against a bad Broncos team that also can't put the pieces together. And we can't get a good AFC West. I mean, that's just insane. But look at this. You got a full division that has teams over 500. And then you got another division that's over 500. And we thought this was going to be the only division that actually had teams over 500. It's disgusting. And there's only 2 teams at least 500 or above. But I have the Seahawks winning because their defense is underrated. Tariq Woolen is a very underrated rookie. And the Raiders just can't put the pieces together. Now, they could win this one easily because Derek Carr is a veteran against a rookie defense. And they could potentially win that game. But I have the Seahawks winning because Geno Smith is locking it in this year. He's trying to prove himself. Trying to win the MVP at this point, guys. I'm not saying he will because he's going against guys like Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts, potentially Joe Burrow. That's 4. And then, there's Geno Smith, which is 5. But they're going to win because he's trying to prove something. He's Stetson Bennett of the NFL. He's trying to prove something. He said, well, haven't I already proved enough? He's not even in the first place for running in the Heisman. Let's talk about Stetson Bennett. He's not even in the contention for winning the Heisman. That's the MVP. That's Geno Smith. Same guy, same purpose. And they're both going to win. So, Seahawks win anyway. And thank you for watching these videos. I'm going to go ahead and subscribe. You can. I'll see you guys next time.